va?
Jag har varit en idiot, ja.
Sten är otrogen.
Vem fan vill ligga med Sten?
Vi borde bilda de misslyckades förening.
Tisdagsklubben.
Vill inte du hålla på med mat och sånt där?
Jag längtade och drömde om att jag skulle få jobba med mat. Men så blev jag gravid väldigt tidigt.
Nej men shit, det är ju han, alltså kocken. Han har matlagningskurs. Kom igen, vi anmäler oss.
Du kan inte tvinga mig att hålla på med det här kurstramset längre. Hur stavar vi salt?
S-O-J-A!
Inget tjafs, inget prat. Du har inte följt receptet.
Jag brukar gå på känsla.
Ja, men här följer man mina instruktioner.
Har du tänkt på vilken ton du använder mot folk?
Ursäkta?
Absolut. Hur är ursäkten?
Du brukar vinkla kniven och så skär vi ett långt svepande skär.
Kommer du ha fler kurser?
Nej, jag tror det var ett misstag att jag flyttade hem igen.
Det här,
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Breeze, Breezeway Productions The Breeze. We bring you the latest independent films and film festival news, and we are very excited to have a special guest here with us today to talk about his upcoming film, Food and Romance, Peter Stormare. How are you, sir?
Pretty good. You pronounce the last name pretty good to be American. Thank you.
Rolls off the tongue very smoothly, making sure that it sounds eloquent while our audience listens.
Yeah. Perfect.
I like it. I like it. So tell me a little bit about Food and Romance.
Food and Romance. It's, well, very strange for me because I don't do a lot of Swedish movies, and I was invited by the lead actress, Marie, and she's an old friend of mine. We grew up in the same county, and it was very important. We're from the northern Sweden, and we both got into the Academy of Acting. She a couple of years after me, and then to the National Theatre of Sweden, which is very prestigious. And we were so cool because we were the only ones from the northern regions to make it into that theater. So we had a bond from the beginning. And now 30 years later, she called me up and said she had this project, you know, about 3 girls and a female writer and a female director, a lot of girls, and they needed one guy. And she said she thought about me. And I said I was honored when I heard the outline and talked to the director. I said, wow, to do a love story together with Marie is a dream come true. We're from the same region. I love it dearly. And to fall in love with each other when we're 65, what a great thing. Or when we're 64, to quote the Beatles.
Never too young, never too old to fall in love.
Yeah, no. And that is the whole, you know, my way of looking at my life, which is when I look back, coming from a small village up in the north. It's strange how I can be seated here in West Hollywood talking to you now, Alex. It's very strange when I look back. How the hell did that journey begin and how will it end? But I know I wanted to end where I fulfill a lot of the dreams I had as a little boy. And I still have those dreams. And with this movie, it was the Food and Romance movie. It was very important to me. And I think also to the director, everybody involved, especially all the girls involved, because you're still a girl. Even if you become 80 years old, you're still a girl, 90 years old. You're still a guy if you're 90 years old, because your passion doesn't go away. Your sexuality doesn't go away. Nothing goes away. It's still there as you were when you were like, you have the dreams as you had when you were 7, 8 years old, when you were 12 years, 22, and the sexuality doesn't disappear. You're still turning your head as a guy when you walk down the street, when you're 65 or 75. And here we can do it on the screen to show that 2 people in the mid 60s can fall in love and start a life together. And my character, Henrik, a chef that's been around the world, been pretty successful, maybe too much in love with his occupation, being a chef, but he knows he's lacking something called human love. He's always been looking for it. And now when he's doing, he's every Tuesday he has a little course which he hates, but then these 3 women shows up that gives him something else, especially one girl, Marie. She gives him something called human love, and he finds it at the age of 65. And that became very important for us to have a message. And I came up with my own little message when this movie opened up in Sweden, like a year ago, 10 months ago. I said to journalists, it's never too late to start a rock band. It's never too late. The only thing that holds you back is your own prejudice.
Yeah. I was reading that you also work with music as well. Did you create any music with this, or are you still doing that whole rock and roll thing? Speaking of rock bands.
No, I still do rock and roll. And I've always been wanting to, and it wasn't until I did a movie called $1 Million Hotel together with Bono. And I wrote some songs for my character, and he said that these are great. You should do something, start recording. And I started recording, and I found a band, and we still are friends, and I still record. I produced a lot of artists, but I sort of fly under the radar because music for me is cheaper than a shrink. And I picked up the bass a couple of years ago, and I'm becoming pretty good at bass. And that music is something that I always dreamt about. And finally somebody said, do something. And I started, and I'm always thankful to Bono for just kicking my ass, because otherwise I would have died with that dream. And the dream is not to be on stage and playing live, because it's too much work, but to be in the studio with other people to create together is something unique. And I don't want to sell a lot of, I have some people listening to the music and say, this is really good. That's enough. That's enough for me, because I'm fulfilling my dream. I'm not fulfilling other people's dreams. I'm fulfilling my dream. And my dream is just to do music. I don't want to become a big superstar. Never been a dream of mine. Otherwise I would have pursued that dream early on.
Well, it just so happened that you have become a very recognizable face within the industry. I saw you on Corden for when you sat with Keanu to have a conversation about your career and the roles that you played, the bad guys, the accents, the things that you did. And even if that wasn't your dream, you did, make your nest egg or your bread and butter from doing that for a long time. So my question is, now that you've had that career and we're talking about a retrospective, how are you going forward picking the films that you're going to be doing for the future? I looked on your IMDb, you have shorts, you have the feature, you have this film coming out. What do you want to do going forward with film and television projects?
It happened when you're growing up, you have a lot of ideas, and I came into theater by accident, into acting and directing by accident, because I listened to the voice within. And I mean, coming from a small village up in northern Sweden, you're not supposed to be at the Academy of Acting. You come from better surroundings, and you have seen theater at least. I never seen a theater when I applied from the school, which was a grave mistake. But I set aside from the beginning, I had a lot of ideas. I knew at that point, I can't pursue this and this now. I put them in the side. I say I have like dough. I put them in an oven, or, in a closet to see. And now the last chapter of my life, my last little slice of pizza, I set aside to do my own project. So I look in the closet, I look at the dough, and some of them have rised, the buns have rised, and I take those out and I work on them. I'm sitting here at a desk, and I sit here and write. I've written a couple of scripts now that goes way back, in my head. Sure. And I've fulfilled them. And now I have people interested. I have actors interested, actresses interested. I have finance, and I have my small little company, and we have a television series that's been successful called the Swedish Dicks. And that's a good name.
Nice. Very nice.
It's something called the American Runestone, and we have a couple of projects in the making, and I have a couple of people working with me in my little company. So the last chapter of the quarter of my football game is set aside to what I really want to do. I really want to do, because I don't live over my income. I never did. I'm a simple guy from a simple background. I have 2 feet on the ground. I have 1 car. As my father said, you only have to use 1 toilet. You don't need a big mansion and 5 cars as everybody want to have out of it. I have no jewelry. I got clothes from Adidas for free, which is a
$20 button down. I know what you mean.
Yes. So that is my perspective of life. So my last chapter, I want to nourish and nurture the dreams I've had over the years. And I want to do these scripts if I direct it myself or somebody else direct, but it's my script, it's my idea, I want it out. And now it starts to bear fruit. And that's how I want to end my life too, to fulfill those last things, that I had in my mind for so many years. So
now is the time. Now is the time to create, and you're going to be going forward, making your own projects. You've had a wonderful career and will continue to. You've written your own things. You're making your own movies. And we were here today to talk about your new upcoming film, Food and Romance. We hope that our audience is able to check it out as well. And, if your life's a pizza pie, you got the best slice in New York with pepperoni and good dough. So I'll tell you right now that it's been a great trip. And, I look forward to checking out this film and then seeing your future work that you do. And I want to thank you, Peter Stormare, for coming on the show to talk about your film, Food and Romance as well.